Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Chuck, and it's Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024, and about the middle of the afternoon, and little Flapjack and I decided to take some time on this beautiful, beautiful spring day and go out for a little bit of a ride and talk to you a little bit. It's been a few days since I made a video. We're actually headed back toward town now because that's the way the angle of the light's better for a video. I'll show you a little bit of this road, and I'll show you a little bit of the country, and I got another van subject I want to talk to you about. So we'll get up here a little ways where there's a pull off with a little bit of a view, and maybe I can talk to you a little bit. This weather's been seesawing back and forth between beautiful spring weather and winter coming back, and today and tomorrow is supposed to be really, really nice, and then, believe it or not, we got another storm coming in. So we'll deal with it. That's just what it does this time of year. I think we got to pull off right up here someplace where we can get off where you got a nice view. Yeah, let's just go right over here. This looks like a good spot. Let me shut this off and show you the view out my window. You can see the Mogollon Rim up there and Milk Ranch Point. That highest point right on the skyline there is Baker Butte, and I've showed that to you before. But we're not too far out of town here. Let me spin you around where I can talk to you. There's old Flapjack. He says hi. Say hi to the folks in the camera, Flapper. There you go. Say hi. But my subject for today, if I can hold the camera still enough, is I want to talk to you a little bit. Let me move. There we go. This is better. I want to talk to you a little bit about buying a van. I made several van stuff videos lately, and most of them have done pretty well, and I've had quite a few comments on it. And there's a lot of people thinking about experimenting with the van life or getting into van life one way or another. And there's obviously, if you got a lot of money, then the decision's pretty easy. You can go buy something brand new and spend a whole bunch of money. And in fact, there's one of the car dealers that we have in town is actually got a used Sprinter van, a Winnebago Rebel, on the lot. And so I stopped by earlier today to take a quick look at it and see what it was and see what they wanted for it. And I know enough about those to know that they're pretty proud of them from the factory. And this one was a 2023. It said low mileage. It had a bunch of modifications. It was lifted, had big tires and winch and bumpers and all that stuff, and had a lot of solar on top of it. Looked like it'd be a pretty decent rig. I didn't even look at the mileage, but they had a little sticker on it, and I took a look at that, and they wanted $154,000 something for it, used. And that's obviously way the heck above my pay grade. But it was a beautiful rig, and it was my color. It was gray, and I thought it was diesel, and I thought it was a pretty nice rig, but it's pretty expensive. So the people I want to talk to today aren't the people that got a lot of money. The people I want to talk to today are the people that are just trying to get out on the road and trying to maybe get out of that little apartment and get a little bit of adventure in their life and go see some stuff they've never seen before, and they're just trying to figure out how to do it. So let's talk a little bit about at least my opinion. And and I'm no expert at this. I'm not a full-time van lifer. I'm a part-timer, but I've been around cars for a long time, and I know a little bit about them. So let's just talk real briefly about looking for a van and what my suggestion would be. And I guess the first thing is, I have no idea how much money you got. I'm going to assume you don't have a lot of money, and you don't want to be out on the road and be dead broke. You want to be out on the road and have a little bit of an emergency fund. So whatever you do, don't take all the money you got and spend it all on your van. because even newer vans can break down, and you may need that emergency fund, and you're better off to have something a little bit older and have a little bit of money banked up rather than spend all the money that you got on something new and have something happen to it and be out there trying to figure out where you're gonna sleep and where you're gonna eat. Because remember, when you're out there, when you're living in a van, if it goes in the shop, it's also your house. So your house is going in the shop too. So always bank on that emergency fund. And I think for a number, let's pick a number out of the sky. And let's just say, and I'm getting ready to cough here, so excuse me for a second. Let me give you a look at that view. I don't know where that came from. Your flapper, he's still sitting here very patiently. He's wanting to go for a walk somewhere, and he knows that once I get talking to the camera, it might be a little while. And this subject, we can spend hours talking about this subject, but I'm going to try to hit on some high spots about what in my opinion that you need and what in my opinion you don't need. And one thing I think you don't need is you don't need something that has a lot of systems and something that's going to cause you a lot of problems. And these old vans, when they start getting old, the ones that are factory made, they weren't made very good to begin with as far as the van part of it, the kit part of it, the living part of it. And so a lot of times if it's cheap for a reason. And, you could be taking on somebody else's problems, and you could end up with a money pit of historic proportions if you're not careful. On the other side of the coin is a lot of people buy an old cargo van that was used by some contractor or something. And the thing to know about those is that a lot of those are, how do we say it in the West, rode hard and put away wet. And that might be pretty much used up and probably wasn't taken care of very well. And if you live up in the North Country where they put a lot of stuff on the roads, remember those commercial vans were on the road all winter. And they might be just rusted all to pieces. And what I will tell you, if there's any one thing I want to leave you with, there is no such thing as a good deal on a rusty van. If you got a choice between taking one that's got body damage and taking one that's got mechanical damage, take the one that needs mechanical repairs, because you can do that. It's cheaper and easier than it is to try to fix rusty bodywork, or if it's been in a wreck or whatever could happen to them. Old vans leak. It's going to leak around the doors. It's just, that's just the way it is. If it's been used hard, it's going to probably leak when it rains. So understand that. If you can pick up one that's came from out west here, down here in the Southwest, do that. Even this one that I'm sitting in right now, this one came out of the upper Midwest. I think the original manufacturer was probably in Indiana, because that's where a lot of the RVs come from. I don't know a lot about the background. The people I bought it from said they brought it out from Indiana. And of course, when they said that, a warning light started going off in my head, so I immediately got down, looked up underneath it for rust, and this one had minimal rust, which told me a couple things. It told me that it probably wasn't driven in the winter much back in its early life, because it started out as a conversion van. So whoever had it probably parked it most of the winter time and just used it in the summer, which was good for me. And it's pretty low mileage, even as we sit right now looking at it right this minute. It's only got 82,178 miles on it. And which that meant is a 33-year-old van. That meant it obviously sat a lot. And I've had to deal with some of those issues too, because that's not good with them either. But remember, this van, I paid very little for it. I only paid $1,400 for it. And I've got a garage full of tools, and I've been a gearhead my whole life, so I was able to do my own repairs on it. I've said in earlier videos, if this particular van, if somebody bought this and had to take it to a shop to have all the work done on it, it would have very quickly run up into thousands of dollars worth of work it needed. I've been able to do it myself, and even as it sits right now, after having, I bought this in 2015, so it's coming up on 9 years I've had it, and I still only got about $5,000 in it. But this is the exception rather than the rule on a van like this. So basically, pick one that's pick one that has a decent body. Look for water damage. Look for rust damage. These things are notorious for rusting up in areas where they use a lot of chemicals on the road and stuff, whether it be salt or whether it be other road chemicals. These things are known for rusting. Don't buy one that's rusted. I don't care if they're giving it to you. You're going to have way more money into it. Body shop work is well over $100 an hour, and you don't get much work done in an hour. So you could easily put $4,000 or $5,000 in one of these just trying to fix basic rust. And what do you got? You still got an old beat up van. So rule number 1, stay away from rusty ones. Rule number 2, try to pick something that's pretty basic. On these, if you have to put a motor in one, an early Ford like this one or an early Chevy, those are probably the 2 cheapest vehicles there are if you got to put a motor in one. Because there's thousands and thousands of them out there with that same motor. And so the motors are as cheap as anything you could find. Gas versus diesel, I'd recommend going with gas for a couple of reasons. One is that a lot of times the diesels have been beat up a lot more. They got a lot more mileage on them. And somebody will tell you, oh yeah, they'll last 500,000 miles. And yeah, I don't believe it. Whoever's selling that van's selling it for a reason. And they, a lot of times they run into the ground. Diesels get a little bit better mileage, but the fuel's more expensive. Upkeep is more expensive. They have more filters and stuff to go wrong with them. And even things as simple as an oil change cost more. And so after a while, the whole idea of buying a diesel doesn't pencil out as well. So just stick to your basic gas motor. Try to keep enough in your emergency fund to so if your engine goes out or your transmission goes out, you got enough money to replace it. And so rule of thumb, and I know this isn't going to fit a lot of you, but I got to use an example somewhere. Let's say that you decide to try going on the road and you're living in an apartment. You've saved up a little bit of money. You've got another car that you're driving now. And let's say between your savings and selling your car, let's say you come up with $20,000. Don't go out and buy a $20,000 van. They're out there, and they'll be a little bit newer. Go buy a $10,000 van and put that other $10,000 in your emergency fund. That way, if you break down in the middle of Podunk somewhere, you at least got a little money to fix it and get back on the road and get living. Another thing about old vans is chances are it's going to need tires. Tires have gotten really expensive. I'm looking at tires now for my old truck, and it's going to cost me probably in the neighborhood of $1,000 to put 4 tires on it. And I'm putting good tires. I'm not putting junk on it. I've been that route. I've done that before. I actually put a set of the cheapest tires I could find on this van when I first bought it, because like all vehicles, it needed tires. And I only got about 10,000 miles out of them. They were soft. They were made offshore. The ones I put on there were actually made in Thailand. And boy, they just did not last. 10,000 miles, I was looking at new tires. I put a little better grade of tire that I got on here now. But just in the time I've had this van now, I'm on my second set of tires. The tires that were on it when I bought it were so bad I wouldn't even take it out of town. The treads were separating, and they were cheap tires to start with as well. So just think about it. You're probably going to have to put tires on it. If you have a relative or a friend or a trusted mechanic, have them look at it if you're not comfortable with looking at it yourself before you buy one. Take your time. My suggestion would be if you're thinking about going trying van life in a couple of years, go buy the van now. Sell your car. You can drive a van like this as your daily driver. It's not that big a deal. It'll make you get used to driving it. It'll sort out any problems it might have. And it'll make you comfortable with using it. It's not going to get hardly any worse mileage than what you're driving now, chances are, unless you got a really, really long commute. That might be a little different. But if you're the average person, go buy the van now, start converting it, doing what you got to do to it. Take it out on short trips and weekends and dip your toe in the water of van life. Figure out whether or not it's something you really, really want to do. It'll give you a chance if you're still working a job, it'll give you a chance to, here again, bank up that emergency fund. It'll give you a little bit of money to fix the things maybe that the van needs. I can envision buying a used vehicle, and first thing you want to do is change all the fluids in it, because chances are it hadn't been done. If you buy one from somebody that's had good service records, that's taken good care of it, well, good for you, because that's really, really important. But the vast majority of the time, that just doesn't happen. The vast majority of the time, you're getting something that you have absolutely no idea what the history is behind it. Look for evidence of flood damage, because there's a lot of flood vehicles out there right now, and they sell them pretty cheap, but they'll do nothing but give you problems down the road. How do you tell whether it's flood damage or not? Well, one of the ways is if it's sitting there in the sun that's all closed up and you open the door and it smells like a swamp, that's a big warning sign. Pick up the carpets, look underneath the carpets, look for dirt, look for debris, look for mud. These vans like these old Econolines, like the one I have here, they're well known for leaking and getting rust right underneath the driver's feet. Right underneath, in front of the driver's seat, right where my feet are. They rust there. I've had issues with this one here. There's a video a while back about where I pulled the carpet up because I could smell rust, and I found it. Unfortunately, it wasn't very serious, and I was able to use Rust Converter and fix it. And I haven't had that problem since then, and I check it every time it rains. But just some little things to think about. Don't spend all your money on trying to get the newest van you can. Get something basic from a basic manufacturer. Don't buy some exotic foreign thing. Sprinter vans, there's a lot of people wanting Sprinter vans. A lot of people like them. They're made by Mercedes. The Mercedes vehicles cost a lot of money to repair, and they're hard to get repaired. If you buy a Ford or a Chevy or a Ram or something like that, there's dealerships all over the place that can work on it. So it's just some little thoughts. Like I say, I haven't made a video in a while. I've had quite a few people that have commented on my videos that are thinking about doing this, and I've had people that thank me for my insight, thank me for my thoughts on it. I've had people that commented and told me I have no idea what I'm talking about, although not too many of those actually. And I've also had some ladies that commented that they didn't think I had any business talking about ladies' issues, but I'm steering away from this on this video. This is equal opportunity video. No matter whether you're male or female, it's relevant to everybody. But I wish you the best of luck. My personal opinion on vans is you definitely need something you can stand up in. Now, if you're a little short person, that's a little easier than if you're as tall as I am. This one here, one of the reasons I bought it when I did is because of the high roof on it. And my personal opinion, I think that's a must. For you older folks out there, another big consideration is a potty. When you're younger, anybody that's you young folks in your 20s and 30s that might watch this, you might laugh at me about it, but what I can tell you is the older we get, the more we appreciate having a bathroom available. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it needs to be something. And there's nothing wrong with using the basics. I have a cassette toilet and I like it. It works fine for me. But there's a whole lot of people that do nothing more than go in a bucket. And, once you get used to that, it's not that big a deal. So anyway, I think I probably wrap this one up here. I don't know how long it's gone. Flapper wants me to take him to the park. He's starting to get a little bit antsy down there. So we're going to go to the park and walk him around a little bit. Let me give you a look out my windshield, what I'm looking at here. Like I said, beautiful, beautiful spring day. Temperatures in the mid-60s. Up here on this hill that I'm on, you can kind of see for a long distance. Back over there behind us, just some rolling hills. This little mountain that we're on is called Snowstorm Mountain. I'm not sure where it got its name at. But anyway, let me tell you, as I always do, take care of each other and love each other and take care of yourself and do your research. Van life can be very rewarding if you're ready for it and if you know what to expect. I absolutely love getting out for a few days at a time and with no itinerary, no plan, and just sort of go wherever my whims take me. And I don't know that I want to do it all the time, but I wouldn't mind going out and dipping my toe in it a little bit more than I do. But anyway, until I see you again, look down the road there again. And until I talk to you again, let me just tell you, peace out.